Right, okay, cool. So I'm just going to do another breakdown on Bitcoin now, just to talk about what we can see to happen next. We've seen some very interesting price action, and it's interesting to see how this develops now. I'm only going to keep this very brief on the overall base of the weekly, like I have in my other videos. Nothing much has changed, still bullish, protected high. This is our swing low to swing high. This is protected, and this is our weak high. So in theory, this is our target, and we have an expectation that this high is going to get run, which is the all-time high, as long as a bullish price action is going to remain. Following this low doesn't get broken, as this is protected. So this low shouldn't get broken if bullish price action is to remain. So price can drop all the way down to sort of this 30 to 35k level. This is a valid demand level here, and this is one I'm going to draw on, which is going to be this right here. And then we've also got this demand range, which is what we're inside now, and we're literally at the extreme of this range. As you can see here, we haven't broken this one just yet. This is what we're inside right now. Obviously, like we said, weekly's bullish. Basically, just have an expectation now to once we put a new high, low, full continuation, targeting the week high, which is this target line here. So that's what I'll be saying as of right now on the weekly. Nothing much has changed regarding to that. So, and then we come to the daily chart. We have a look at what we've got going on here. Obviously, we knew that we had this, which was sort of this daily structure. We can see now we've come up and we've now put in a new lower low. This is broken with a candle body. So this basically indicates now that we've basically created a new protected lower high in the market, which is this, right? Okay, so basically, what could this be saying now? So we can see that we're at the extreme of this demand range. There's two things that we can see here now. If we somehow now mitigate the extreme of this, we can see we're taking all the inducement below this point mitigated. The unmitigated wick, which is this right here, which is the extreme at this whole demand level, which is at the demand level, which basically was the flip of this supply level here. So you can see obviously that's where it was pretty much the whole thing. If you look at it from that, this whole sort of range, that's basically the reaction there led to the break. We did take a lot of liquidity in the formation of this POI. It's V-shaped recovery into higher time frame demand, which was this level here. So this could now, in theory, if we can see here on the daily, we've reacted here. If we can now sort of react off this and take this high out, we'll get a daily change of character, and this could give us that first indication that we're going to start to see this bullish price action. Obviously, we've just swept taken below this low here now. So right now, what does this mean? In theory, what could just happen here now is if we don't break above this chalk line here, we could just simply come up into here, do this, and continue to drop. But then what we've got to look at from the daily perspective, right? Weekly's bullish, but daily's bearish. This is protected lower high. So in theory, what's the expectation of the daily, right? The expectation of the daily, in theory, if this is going to hold as the low, we're going to come up and put in a new lower high before we come and take out the week low before the lower low. Okay. What we've got to understand is that price is currently bullish on the weekly, and we are in the extreme of the demand, the weekly demand. So it's whether this mitigation to the extreme of this demand is going to be the move that's going to come fuel this move to come and take out the week high on the weekly. How would we know that we can basically say, okay, this is now confirmation that we could be seeing this week high getting run and the all-time high is going to come get run on Bitcoin? Well, it's if obviously this depends what happens at this low here, but in theory, as price stands, if we can take out this high, and we get a break of structure above this high, basically what this will mean is we get structural alignment, and then basically all this means is that we've got weekly bullish in line with daily bullish, and then we're basically just looking to catch the pullback, catch the higher low, and then look to target the week high above there, because that's what we need to see. But as of right now, daily's bearish, so in theory we still have an expectation for that. We've obviously got this is a whole level of supply that we could potentially look to trade from. There's also something within here as well. This is a whole supply range, but looking at from here, it's going to be this as well. These are two levels that we could trade from, both within the premium and to short from. So in theory, this is definitely valid to play, since obviously we're still bearish. Obviously weekly being bullish, but obviously we don't want to assume anything. So right now, any sort of longs would be counter trend to sort of this daily. You can sort of keep that expectation that this is going to come and take the high, but you don't want to do that. You want to just sort of react to what price is telling you. So that's what we're saying on the daily. What we can see here as well is we've got this demand level down here. It's flipped this supply level to the left. If we look at these buy to sell wicks here, you've got these buy to sell wicks. There is the reaction. That's caused this break. This is demand level to the 50% that has been mitigated. So there is definitely reason within this wick to get a reaction from inside this wick. If not, we've got levels down in here. If it's to refine them down, we're looking at this demand level here. which is a really, really nice level to look to long from. And this is like that extreme level, right? And we know price shouldn't break below this low if bullish intent is going to remain. So if this does sort of do this and then come down lower, we could potentially then see this to give us that structural alignment to do that. Or if not, and we get this, comes down, reaction, and then somewhere into here, maybe, then we get that break, then this is obviously then giving us that intent then that we are going to come and take out the all-time high once we come into these demand levels and we get this sort of daily structural alignment in line with the weekly. So that's what we're saying now on the daily and weekly time frame, sort of that longer term perspective. We just look at what we've got on sort of this intraday move. So again, we had this break here. We put in this low. This has tried to put in a new low here, but it's failed. It's wicked. And then what we could be seeing now is this could be weak. And this could, in theory, now start to put in some sort of complex pullback on the daily. So if that does happen, basically you could be buying these now, understanding that we are counter trend to the daily being bearish. Then you could be obviously looking to partial positions out in here and down in here. Because currently we still have the expectation that price is going to come and take out this week low on the daily, this being weak. We have that expectation, and obviously we don't assume otherwise. And then obviously if this high goes, let's say this is this and whatever, and then this high goes, obviously then this creates a new protected low down here, and I'm looking to buy on the pullback. So let's take this long. So now obviously that'll be structural alignment to come and take out the all-time high. So is this going to take the all-time high yet? Not right now. It definitely could do from this mitigation. It's at the extreme, and I mean at the extreme of this demand level, which is the highest probable level for me. If it was going to go from anywhere, it could go from here. This one down here, not as much. This was my preferred zone, demand level for it to go from. It's at the literally hit the extreme. Depending on the reaction we get here, could potentially say that we could see the move to come take this out, but you don't want to assume it's going to do that until we get a structural alignment. So once this boss goes, essentially, then you want to buy on the pullback, and that's where you want to be fucking buying all your Bitcoin, because that's when it's going to hit the move. But as of right now, still got weak low, protect high. This did take some form of liquidity. Yeah. So yeah, that's taking that liquidity there, and that's basically what we're saying down there. On the 4 hour, where's my protected 4 hour high? This has led to this. Whether you want to classify that as some form of stretch on a lower time frame, but we know this is one swing point to this swing point. And if we take this high here now, we know we're just going to be putting in that complex pullback of this swing stretcher, and then then we'll basically be shorting and then buying up into these levels. And then if price then does come and take this high, then we know that we can start to look for the longer term buys to take the all-time high. What could just happen is could wick this, something like this, and then this could even just do this and just slap straight through. But all we're doing is waiting for structural alignment. Everything's bearish at the moment still. Daily 4 hour, etc. If we do sort of take this high, this chop line I've got here, this gives us that first indication we might see bullish intent. But as of right now, it'd just be that complex pullback on the daily, potentially playing up to this level to come and take the week low. And only then, if price does come and take the high, that's when we'd be saying, right, okay, buy on demand to come and target our all-time high. And yeah, if this does fail, there are obviously more levels down here. Like I said, you've got the 50% of this. So you can see it's more like this demand level here. You can see this sort of cold candle here. We could refine it down. It's definitely a valid demand level. You see it's taking some form of liquidity flip. But then obviously this is that more extreme weekly higher probable zone down at the bottom here, because obviously if we just come back into weekly, obviously weekly demand levels hold more weight essentially, because obviously this whole thing here is a demand range. This whole thing is a demand range. And obviously this whole demand range has essentially stacked orders within this range, led to an initiation, which has come tapped into this sort of range, has come back in and mitigated, and then left the 50% and mitigated, which is this demand level. You can see we've got the weekly sell to buy candle, which is the more probable level, like I said, compared to this sort of sell to buy wick. So it's whether if this is going to hold, we'll get a reaction here. This I'd see more of as a reaction to do this to come and test maybe in the 30 to 35k level. And then obviously this is that highest probable level where I'd be saying, right, okay, if we can get some sort of structural alignment here, once we sort of break bullish there on, say, the daily, we're targeting this high, because essentially then we've hit the extreme of this weekly. This should essentially come and take this all-time high. And if by some slim chance we do fucking melt through this and we take this, things aren't looking good. We're switching bearish, and if this low goes, we're in Bitcoin's in the mud essentially. I'd say for a long time anyway. We do not want to see this go. Pretty much, this high low should hold really. If bullish, depends how strongly you believe in Bitcoin and crypto. If you believe in crypto, then we don't want to see this go around, which is what's it, 28,200, no, 28,800. So yeah, that's me ramming on another 10 minutes because I don't want to keep this as short as I can. Let's see what happens now. Pretty much all my Bitcoin analysis is if that's a word, have been right so far. And yeah, let's see what happens now over the coming few weeks and months coming into this new Q1 2022.